What is up, YouTube? You miss me? Hi. I'm back with another reaction video. This time we're watching Poppy Playtime's history of drama. Yes, we are watching a drama video for once on this channel. I know, crazy, but I just recently finished the 5th chapter of Poppy Playtime, and I am very, very interested in what these people have to say about Poppy Playtime, because I do know there's a lot of stuff that went wrong a bunch of times in this game. Especially the last chapter was a bit, you know? But let's see what they have to say about Poppy Playtime.
Say that Poppy Playtime is one of the most controversial horror games of all time.
Controversial horror games.
From the company who made the game being seen as greedy to fan favorite characters being given barely any screen time. There's been a lot of different times where Poppy Playtime or Mob has found themselves in some drama. And
so what I have heard about Mob Entertainment, right? What I've heard about Mob Entertainment is that they like money. They really, really like money. Okay? And from what I've heard is they usually try and milk the absolute shit out of their IPs. Before, I think they were doing like YouTube stuff and they were milking that until like YouTube slop. Like straight up slop, like Minecraft slop or something like that. But yeah, I don't think a lot of people like Mob Entertainment.
Hey, I'm gonna be going over every single one of Poppy Playtime's controversial moments. Subscribe. The very first time Poppy Playtime had even a little bit of controversy was before the game even came out.
Oh, wow,
in
really?
Fact, multiple years before Chapter 1 even released.
Oh, damn.
If you don't know already, the company that made Poppy Playtime, Mob Entertainment, was originally just a YouTube channel who made Minecraft animations called Enchanted Mob. And the manager of the channel was named Zach Bellinger.
Okay, we got Zach Bellinger.
Because he's now the CEO of Mob Entertainment, but we'll get more into that later. The channel was pretty popular with millions of subscribers, and there was a bunch of people who were fans of the channel and decided to give animation a try themselves.
I heard it was huge.
Being Ecker Coaster. They started to make similar Minecraft animations, getting some pretty good views, some videos even hitting a couple million. And one day when Ecker Coaster was live streaming with a friend on YouTube, he received a notification from the owner of the Enchanted Mob channel, Zach Bellinger. Enchanted Mob was the reason Ecker Coaster started making animations in the first place, so he was pretty excited when he got a direct message from the owner of Enchanted Mob.
It won't be good.
Zach messaged him saying, "Hi, you may not have heard of me. I'm the manager of Enchanted Mob Inc. and its subsidiary 3A Display. We've noticed your channel is doing very well." Then Zach asked to get on a call with Ecker in 20 minutes and didn't really mention why. Ecker was still streaming, so he said, 20 minutes? I still might be live. And Zach said, end the stream then.
End the stream then?
15 minutes? I can, but this meeting is more important than your stream. Please keep...
What the actual hell? Wait, that's so rude. Dude, first of all, that is insanely rude. Are you kidding me? Why the hell would anybody say that? Like, oh my god, that is so like, I don't know what you could call this, like ego? Like, this guy has a huge ego. Like, it's more important than you stream. The hell do you mean,
Keep that
man?
in mind. 1 hour streams are normally pretty long. So for no apparent reason, Zach was being super hostile right off the bat. But they finally got on a call, and Ecker was told that he should join the Enchanted Mob team and help with their videos instead of focusing on his own channel. Ecker was told that unless he joined Mob, he would never be successful on his own. He was told he won't be able to afford things. He's not making enough money.
That
Ecker
is
at first said no to this because he wanted to focus on his own channel with his own community. But he later ended up agreeing and joined the Enchanted Mob team.
Why would
he was
you
added
agree?
to a group chat with a bunch of other people who worked on Enchanted.
Dude, this sounds sus as hell. I'm so sorry, but that sounds sus as hell. Are you kidding me? You would never. Okay, if somebody came into my DMs and went like, "Hey, what you're doing right now is shit. By the way, you're never making any money from this. How about you join our entertainment company and then we can make you famous or something?" Like, nah, that is so shady.
Mob, and everything seemed fine at first, but he later found out that some of the Enchanted Mob animators were bullying him behind his back. Some of this includes putting a gun emoji and pointing at Ecker's profile picture. And when Ecker confronted the person that said this, they said it was just a joke, LOL.
It was just a joke.
Zach or other people on the team would intentionally try to make Ecker mad, but Ecker decided to stop talking to all of them entirely and focus on his own channel again. And now you might be wondering how we know all this. Well, in 2020, Ecker posted this video, Why Ecker Coaster Disappeared. And in the description of the video, he linked a long document showing screenshots of making this...
That's the Google Docky. There it is, the Google Docky. I mean, to be fair, they deserved it.
Situation public, calling out Enchanted Mob, a giant YouTube channel, who was bullying and at the time 15.
It's pretty.
And remember, all this came from him just liking the Enchanted Mob channel and wanting to do what they do.
Dumb.
But what ultimately came from this was nothing. None of this really affected the Enchanted Mob channel or its views.
It didn't?
And when I started doing research for this video, it was the first time I had heard about any of this, and I was genuinely shocked about how little this entire situation is talked about.
I'm surprised.
It was a pretty big thing when it happened.
Usually those kind of things always blow up.
Supported Enchanted Mob because of it, but only a couple months later, Enchanted Mob decided to create Mob Games, a gaming company that was directly connected to the Enchanted Mob channel, and they would start work on their very first game, Poppy Playtime. The director of the game, Isaac, made this Kickstarter page where you could help fund the development of the game. And it had certain levels that would give you free stuff based on how much money you gave. If you donated $5, you would get a free copy of the game. $25 got your name in the credits.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
$50 will get you everything from before, plus a background pack. So
that's pretty much the
and you get your own fan-made character put in the game as a 2D drawing. And finally, $500 will get your fan-made character.
I've never heard of this before.
Now, this Kickstarter page completely failed, only getting $200 out of the $45,000 they were asking for. The Kickstarter was not very popular, and the people who did come across it did not think that the rewards it gave them were worth it. People felt like for $250, they should be getting more than just a drawing in the game. That would probably be barely visible, and most people who play the game wouldn't even know it was there. Or $50, that would just get you a background pack. And something really
background is that pack? What do you even use that for? For your background as like your desktop background or something?
Kickstarter failed, they completely canceled it, and you couldn't give money to it anymore. But Chapter 1 still dropped only a month later. So why were they asking for $45,000?
Good point, good point. When you make a Kickstarter, usually you don't have the stuff done yet. Usually when you make a Kickstarter, this is how that goes. When you have a broad idea and you have like something, like a little bit of the project already done that you can show something off, you know? Because like if you're doing a Kickstarter, you're basically asking for help to develop the game, you know? That's usually how that goes. At least that's how I was taught. That's how I was that's what I was told when I was in game design college. But yeah, usually you do that before the game is done. And of course you have to make good backing stuff. You have to make good tiers and stuff that actually are valuable for the amount of money that you put into the game. You know, into the project after all, because you want to make people spend on your game so that you can get the funds to create said game, you know? That's how that usually works.
Anyway, what were they actually going to do with that money if they got it? Because it's clear that they weren't going to use it for the game.
Yeah,
there
good
is a
point.
possible answer to this that does make some kind of sense.
Okay.
And it's that Poppy Playtime Chapter 1 was supposed to be a way bigger game than we actually ended up getting. The final game takes around 15 minutes to beat, with only a couple puzzles and one main enemy. But it was revealed later in an interview that there was going to be way more puzzles and mini games, and potentially more monsters too. And so maybe they created this Kickstarter to raise money to make the game bigger, like how it was intended to be. But this isn't that strong of an argument either, because in that same interview, Isaac said that they cut all that stuff out because of limited time, not because they didn't have enough money. This controversy is not very well known, and it's not super big either, but it still counts, and I feel like I should at least mention it in this video.
Yeah, it's a good mention. It's a good mention. I mean, if they want to make the game bigger and they still released it really, really close to when they canceled the Kickstarter, I mean, that means that they still have made that decision way before they canceled that, you know, Kickstarter, which means that they already spent all of the resources on the game. So yeah, it's probably not because they wanted to make a bigger game. It's probably just because they want the money, you know?
That came when Poppy Playtime actually released.
Okay.
On October 12th, 2021, Chapter 1 would finally come out on Steam.
All right.
And right away, the game started to pick up traction.
Dude,
it became the biggest thing on TikTok for a while, with YouTubers playing it and making theories on it.
It was huge!
But there was one YouTuber who was not very happy with the game's release.
Oh?
And that YouTuber was Ecker Coaster.
Oh!
The same guy from earlier who was bullied by Mob when they were still just a YouTube channel. Ecker noticed some very odd parts of Poppy Playtime and saw that a lot of the game was pretty similar to his game that he had released about a year before.
No!
So Ecker went on Twitter and made this post. The recent game that's been blowing up, Poppy Playtime, stole my game story. He pointed out that both the games were about exploring an abandoned building. Poppy Playtime stole the idea of character cardboard cutouts. Some designs look similar. I'm gonna defend—
Wait, hold on. Let me see the designs again. I just want to see.
Poppy Playtime stole—
Okay, well—
the idea of character cardboard cutouts. Some designs look similar.
Okay, my character designs, their character designs. Now, I don't see much resemblance in these. I mean, okay, I see the mouth from the first one. I can get behind that. The mouth behind the first one, I can get behind that. The overall, like, look of the thing, not really, but the thingy down there where it's in a thing, that does look kind of similar. That does look kind of similar, I do have to say, yeah.
Similar. I'm gonna defend Venge with all I have. This situation is frustrating as this has happened before in the animation community, and now it's happening with Venge. Considering that he had a history with Mob and they released their game only a year after this, it looked like there could actually be some merit to his claim. But Twitter did not agree.
Okay, Twitter did not agree.
Identical, but from what I saw, the games are not identical. They're just similar. By that logic, Venge is a copy of Bendy and the Ink Machine. I really do hope that these accusations go nowhere. The concept of exploring abandoned X is not a unique idea in the first place.
I mean, that is true. Abandoned things, exploring abandoned things have been
attempt to hop onto the big horror game right now. So this never really went anywhere either, but the next big controversy Poppy Playtime had to deal with was when the game was shown on the news.
The game was shown on the news? Wait, it was shown on the news? I've never seen that before. That's actually kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie. Dude, yeah, no, I remember the first Puppy Playtime chapter was actually my favorite. I did like it a lot. I played it on stream back then. And it was very fun. It was very good. I thought it was pretty goddamn good for a first chapter to a horror game. I also loved the villain. Huggy Wuggy was definitely, I love the design. It's very memorable to me.
First game came out, showing news broadcasters talking about how dangerous the game is and how it can be traumatic for some kids.
A character in a new
it's a horror
video game intended for adults has become very popular with children. You may have heard your kids mention Huggy Wuggy. He resembles a bear, but he is not friendly.
Huggy Wuggy.
What do you know about him?
He's blue, his head shape is...
How did kids... Oh, because of Let's Players, that's why.
He hugs you until your head pops off.
There's also this clip where they just make things up and say Huggy Wuggy whispers songs in your ear, and kids were imitating that on the playground.
What?
Unsettling. It is unsettling, Steve and Jeanette, and it's called, innocently enough, the Huggy Wuggy game. And while it may sound innocent, like I said, it could actually be really traumatic for some children.
So
that's not even Poppy Playtime.
The character that you just saw goes around and hugs people and whispers really creepy songs into their ears.
Goes around and hugs people.
So Common Sense Media says there's no graphic violence, but obviously that can be a little scary. On playgrounds, it seems like kids are mimicking that. They're going around and hugging each other and kind of whispering these creepy mantras at each other.
What the hell? Kids are weird.
There's nothing in Poppy Playtime that's going to traumatize a kid for life, especially because in this clip they were talking about only chapter 1. The most disturbing thing in that game are some blood marks that are left on the metal pipes as Huggy falls.
Yeah, to be fair.
There was also a bunch of articles released warning parents about Poppy Playtime, like the terrifying Momo sculpture that became the centerpiece of an alleged internet challenge.
Guys, do you remember Momo? Holy moly, that was such a huge thing. Same for the whatever whale project or some stuff. Dude, I used to go like around like a goddamn insane thing, dude. They used the whale, the blue whale game or something. Dude, that was actually scary. That was low-key scary because people actually died from that. Yep, it was pretty goddamn bad. But yeah, Momo, I remember that. I remember even getting one. I remember getting one on WhatsApp, like a Momo thingy, a message. But yeah, it's just, you can just block those people. It's just people that want to mess with you at the end of the day.
A few years back, Huggy Wuggy has become the new mascot for schoolyard hijinks that can have lasting negative effects on a young child's mental health. Children have been mimicking the blue horror at school, threatening and potentially even traumatizing their peers.
Yeah, it's from Let's Players. They probably found it from Let's Players.
Playtime controversies when Mob made Poppy Playtime NFTs.
Oh my god. Poppy Playtime made NFTs? How have I not heard about this? Since when?
Digital drawings that people can buy and sell, some being worth thousands of dollars. They were popular for a while back in 2021 and 2022. Nobody really talks about them anymore, and 95% of them are now worth nothing. But in late 2021, only a couple months after Chapter 1 came out, Mob released 6 NFTs of different Poppy Playtime characters, $15 each, and hid secrets for Chapter 2 on the back of them that you could only find if you bought them. And before they dropped, they released this now deleted video telling people about them.
Okay.
It's me, Laith Pierre.
Never seen this before.
Oh, we're rolling? Hi, my name is Leith Pierre, and I'm here to tell you about our brand new Playtime Code digital collectible posters.
Wow.
We've got 7, count them, 7 collectible posters.
7 collectible posters.
Each, front and back, including but not limited to Huggy Wuggy, Candy Cat, Poppy, and Brawn. But
okay.
Wait, there's more, folks. With each poster you collect, you'll unlock a special VHS tape video on the back.
What? Secret messages hidden on the back of each card. That is so...
For the whole family. You know what? Collect all 6 posters.
That is so greedy.
The 7th one for free. Because my heart is just...
That is so greedy.
So, mark your calendars, people. These posters will be available this Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern.
So wait. NFTs, right? You can only buy one of them, right? So one person could just buy all of these and keep them to themselves, right? Is that how I get it? Maybe it's not how that works.
Fast, so make sure to get them before I do.
Some people bought these, and the lore secrets on the back of them spelt out "Mommy Longlegs is coming," teasing Chapter 2.
Oh,
this is probably one of, if not the most hated thing Mob Entertainment ever
did. No, I would hate it too.
They received so much backlash that they stopped talking about the NFTs entirely, but still kept them up and available to buy because they legally couldn't take them down yet. But the damage had already been done. Poppy Playtime devs still went with the NFTs despite the insane backlash on Twitter.
Dude, why would you ever do that? As a maker of the game, as a developer of the game, why would you ever do this? This is literal career, like, you know, it is literally so bad. What do you mean? Why would you ever do this? Dude, it can only backfire. It can only backfire. What do you mean? No, it's like you have to buy something to get little secrets out of a game. That's just stupid, man.
Reminder to refund the game if you bought it in the last 2 weeks and to give it a negative review on Steam. After all this, Mob promised to never make NFTs ever again, and they tried to erase this whole situation from people's minds, banning people in their server that talks about NFTs. If you're wondering why the decision to make NFTs was so hated, it's because it was clear that they were just doing it for money. More behind the posters.
No, I cannot imagine a bigger cash grab than that. Like, I cannot actually, it's so bad.
Encouraging people to buy them to learn more about the Poppy Playtime story. It was $15 each for a digital 2D card that did nothing. NFTs were big at the time,
even a poster.
You can't even just doing this to hop on and trying to make some money off it. And before we move into the Chapter 2 era, there was still a couple more things that Mob had to deal with. In the beginning of April 2022,
I did not know all of this was happening
for Chapter 2, saying it would come sometime in the next 3 weeks. They also heavily implied that it would be on April 18th, and most people thought it would be too, but the game never ended up dropping until May 5th. It was also delayed a couple hours on the release day, which is not too big a deal, but another big controversy Mob found themselves in was on April 27th, only about a week before the release of Chapter 2, where they announced the Poppy Playtime movie on Twitter. Mob Entertainment is proud to announce
Playtime movie? There was a movie? Or at least they said there was a movie. Dude, what the actual hell? I've never heard of this.
71 to develop and produce a film based on Poppy Playtime. When Mob announced this, they received a ton of backlash for it. They were already accused of being greedy and money hungry with the NFTs and stuff, but announcing an entire movie was a whole nother level. When they announced this, we only had Chapter 1, which was a 15-minute game. So people were super confused on how they were going to make an entire movie based off of 15 minutes of
I mean, to be fair, you could probably make an entire movie just out of like that, with a little bit of backstory during the thing. You know, I feel like you could probably make a video out of a movie out of that by just putting, like, stretching the plot out, you know? But yeah, I mean, they made a movie on FNAF, right? They made a movie on FNAF, so on the first one, that was literally just what? You sitting inside a cabin and closing doors. Like, that was, although, of course, the movie was, you know.
Inspired you to make a film before you even released Chapter 2. Money. Wow, you guys are really just in this for the money, aren't you? Obviously now we have 5 chapters and a movie seems a lot more justified with all the lore they can base it off now. The movie's still in development, we get updates on it every once in a while, and it seems like it's in super early production and probably won't release for another couple years. But on May 5th, 2022, Poppy Playtime Chapter 2 finally released.
Alright, the second chapter!
A step up from the first game, being longer with more fun puzzles and mini games, better quality, a new villain. There were
I think the second one was really good too.
Fixed. And there was a good amount of time in this era where Mob was pretty drama free with almost no controversy around this time. And later that year in August, we got our first teaser for Chapter 3, showing this red and yellow gas mask, making a lot of people think that Brawn the dinosaur might be the Chapter 3 villain, since the colors on his body are the same as the colors on the gas mask, red and yellow. But the teaser gave us the release date of sometime in 2023. The community assumed it would be out early 2023, considering how fast Chapter 2 came out. But then,
the gas mask, because there's gas in it, right?
That same year, Mob announced their new Poppy Playtime multiplayer spin-off game.
This thing. Dude, I have actually never seen any type of content from this game. Never. Not even when it came out, dude. I've not seen a single bit of it. It's so insane. Although I really, really like, actually, how the red villain looks like. I actually really, really like it. But I've actually never seen anything of this. Legit. Like, nothing. But let's continue.
Project Playtime.
Okay.
We're incredibly excited for everyone to see what our team has poured their hearts and souls into.
It's so strange because I've never seen this.
It's up to you to unravel the mystery behind Project Playtime. We were given the release date of December along with an ARG.
December!
Until the game came out.
Oh,
this
ARG.
is where the next bit of drama would happen with Poppy Playtime.
Oh, of course.
Where at one point in the ARG, we were given coordinates, and part of the community thought that these coordinates led to a graveyard. And some people dug up real graves at cemeteries, thinking there might be Project Playtime secrets somewhere nearby. A mob dev had to step in and say, we've seen some theories.
That is insane, by the way. What do you mean people were... People were actually going to graves and digging them up? Guys, you're not supposed to go dig up graves for an ARG, guys. It's never that serious. It is never that serious. That's insane, though. What the hell?
About the hidden numbers leading to a cemetery, and we wanted to let you know that ain't it. This is all taking place online. Do not dig up graves or trespass on private property. That is super illegal. We want to make this a fun experience for all of you guys and don't want to see anyone get in trouble. But then later, the ARG ended and Project Playtime would get its first full trailer, revealing a brand new villain, Boxy Boo.
Okay. I think he looks cool.
The community was pretty split on Boxy Boo's design.
I think he looks cool. Is that just me? I thought he looks really, really cool. Dude, I don't know about you, but the design is kind of fire. I don't know. It's just something about, like, okay, I get it. It comes out of a box, right? Maybe they could have done something more interesting with the box. But, like, I don't know. To me, this looks cool. I would have liked a chapter with just this guy.
Design, with a lot of people saying he just looked bad and not scary at all. But for some other fans, he would become their new favorite. And Project Playtime itself actually got delayed around a week, with it supposed to drop on December 6th, but dropped on the 12th instead. And the game was super disappointing for a lot of people, and it was super fun for a lot of other people. It was the most buggy and glitchy Poppy Playtime game so far. It had a battle pass, which costed real money.
It had a battle pass. Of course it had a battle pass. Dude, I don't like... Man, am I the only one who doesn't like so many battle passes in every single game? Dude, I feel like everyone's just putting battle passes into their goddamn games nowadays. Like, hey, you see this one? You see this one paid for game? Yeah, by the way, we have a battle pass in it. Like, get out of here with that shit, dude, man. Jesus Christ, bro.
Get you skins and outfits. People were super mad at Mob for this, but I don't really see it as that big of a problem, considering the game was free and you weren't forced to spend any money. And like
yeah. If it's free and it has a battle pass, you know what? I can vibe with it. I can fuck with it. But if it's a paid game and there's like battle passes in it, dude, I just look away inside, dude.
Said the other side of the community really enjoyed Project Playtime, saying it was just a super chill, fun survival game that you could play with friends.
Yeah.
But something that did turn out to be a huge problem were all the glitches. Like I said, it was the most buggy and unfinished game Mob released so far, with some of the glitches resulting in you dying with nothing you can do about it. In Chapter 2, the glitches weren't as bad because you could just reset your game and the glitch would be fixed and you would pick up right where you left off. But in a live game that you're playing with friends, you can't just leave and reset without all your friends leaving as well. A popular opinion that a lot of the community agrees on is that Project Playtime got worse over time. The bugs and glitches were fixed, and Mob put out phase 2 and 3 of the game, giving new maps and new skins.
Wait, the Forsaken one low-key looks like a, what's it called? Baldi's Basics? Yeah, that, dude, it looks so bad. Incineration. I didn't know they were actually, like, I thought this game already shut down by how, like unrelevant it was. I don't know. I feel like they would have shut that thing down a while ago, but apparently they didn't. Wow.
But people just lost interest over time. The game was the same thing every round, which made it get boring super fast. And the player count going down was made worse by the fact that you need
Wow. That is far down.
To other people to play the game. So if you were trying to queue into a game, it would take longer and longer the less people that were playing, making it super hard to get into a game. And so those people quit, making the player count go down even more, resulting in longer queue times, resulting in even less players. And for whatever reason, the mob team made some horrible decisions when adding new stuff to the game, like making it so you can't play with friends anymore and only random people, removing everything that made Project Playtime unique, turning it into just a basic survival multiplayer game, removing daily rewards, giving less and less updates for the game. All this continued until Mob decided to stop updating Project Playtime entirely. In October 2023, Phase 3 of the game dropped, and that was the last update the game ever got. It's now 2026, almost 3 years, and the game has gotten no updates. And all this is an ongoing controversy that's still happening to this day, because Project Playtime still is a dedicated fan base that wants to see a Phase 4 or at least just some more content for the game. And a lot of these people spent real money on the game for skins and battle passes, only for the game to be abandoned by the devs. And every time a mob dev talks about Project Playtime, it seems like they have no plans for the game right now. Will Project Playtime ever get more content? I'm not sure. Let me know if you wanted to, and maybe one day we'll get a Phase 4.
Damn, dude. Yeah, no. If you spend money on something and the devs just don't care, dude, just shut the game down then. I don't know, man. Like, I'm guessing people can still pay money, right? Pay money to get skins and stuff in the game, even though it's dead and you're not getting any queues for it anymore. Like, at this point, just shut the game down. If you're not gonna update it, what's the point of having it up? And like, it's for money. It's definitely for money purposes. And if you really liked the video up until now, make sure you follow me at twitch.tv/SevereArachne so I can come and touch you in my Twitch chat. But for now, let's get back to the video!
But after Phase 3 dropped and the player count was still low, Mob decided that it was time to drop the next actual Poppy Playtime game,
Here
Chapter
we go.
3. By this point, it had been a full year since the first Chapter 3 teaser, and we got a second one in summer of 2023, showing us that Chapter 3 would be the most different game in the entire series. In December 2023, we got a full trailer for the game, revealing a new villain, Catnap, along with the announcement that the game would be delayed into 2024. This was super disappointing for a lot of people because they had the massive window of the entirety of 2023 to release the game, but still ended up having to delay it to 2024. But Chapter 3 looked like the most promising game so far, and on January 30th, 2024 it would finally release, being fully worth the wait. It was the scariest game so far, had cool new characters like Catnap and the rest of the smiling critters, Miss Delight, who would all become fan favorites. And while the game itself was super loved, there was something that happened right after it dropped that would change the future of Poppy Playtime forever. Chapters 1, 2, and 3 were all directed by this guy named Isaac. He was in charge of the story, gameplay, and everything that made the games what they were, and was probably responsible for a lot of Poppy Playtime's success.
Dude, this section in the game, dude, it pissed me off so bad. Dude, this last fight pissed me off so bad. I took a whole 2 hours. Trying to clear this goddamn thing because it was so buggy, man. It was so bad.
But shortly after Chapter 3's release, Isaac announced that he would be stepping away from Mob Entertainment and would not be the director for any upcoming chapters. Hi everyone, I've gotten a lot of questions about what's going on with me and Mob. First, yes, I have left my position as director due to my differing opinions of studio direction / management style, and due to my own personal desire to work in a more indie setting. He was pretty vague on why he left, just saying it was because of differing opinions with Mob. The community was super supportive of this decision, and thousands of people wished him luck on whatever he was planning on doing next. But one question was on everyone's minds: how is this going to affect Chapter 4? Well, we wouldn't get our answer until later that year, but shortly after Isaac left, there were a bunch of other Mob employees who also said that they were leaving. It was weird these were all happening at the same time, and if 1 or 2 employees left, it wouldn't be that big of a problem. But it seemed like every few days, another major Mob employee would leave the company. Around this time, Mob was also facing backlash for how they...
That's why the 4th chapter was kind of like, I mean, it wasn't bad. I like the story, in fact. I like how they're slowly showing you more and more about the, like, children being trapped inside the bodies of, like, the doeys, right? I thought that was pretty cool. I think, dude, that's why I liked the FNAF, right? Like, it had some kind of weird plot about, like, kids being stuffed inside the animatronics. Dude, I like those kind of stories where it's kind of morbid and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I feel like the quality went down, definitely. We're just cycling through enemies now at this point. There's no really, like, huge threat anymore, I guess. I don't know.
They treated their employees. The CEO and executive leadership are either abusive, negligent, and or will fire employees for simply getting on their bad side, thus leading to an overall sense of dread and fear as to who's going to get fired next. You can do everything right, but if they just don't like you, they will find a reason to get rid of you eventually. This all seemed like bad news for Chapter 4, with all these employees leaving and the mob company receiving so much backlash, and it looked like we would have to wait a while for Chapter 4. But later that year on September 30th, Poppy Playtime 4 got its first teaser trailer. The trailer was super short, didn't reveal much about the game, and it said that the game will be out in January. When this was announced, I was almost sure that Chapter 4 would be delayed at some point to maybe February or March, judging based off mob's history with delaying their games. And January seemed super soon to be releasing another Poppy Playtime game already. Chapter 3 took almost 2 years, and Chapter 4 only took half that time. But surprisingly, Chapter 4 made its January release date with no delays. But when the first teaser came out, we were shown a new character, Baba Chops. The Chapter 4 Steam page was also posted, showing a new sheep character on the cover, making it look like this sheep would be Chapter 4's main villain. This started a bunch of drama in the Poppy Playtime community, with everyone not liking the idea of this tiny sheep character being the main villain of the game. It seemed like a step down from Chapter 3, but the devs would later confirm that Baba Chops is not the main villain, and the Chapter 4 Steam cover was just a placeholder, and the true main villain will be revealed later. And over the—
Wait, what's the actual cover for Chapter 4 actually? I need to check that out. I need to check it out real quick. Let me see real quick. Oh, right, it's Doey. Doey was the Chapter 5 guy. Right.
Next week, every day, Mob posted a brand new character for Chapter 4, all being members of a new group, the Nightmare Critters. People hated the Nightmare Critters when they were getting revealed because they just seemed like the smiling critters again with barely any differences.
Yeah, dude, I swear to God, I couldn't even tell them apart, bro. Okay, I didn't actually watch the trailer for the Poppy Playtime 5th chapter, so I was just in there. I was like, wait, isn't this just the smile? Isn't this just the dudes from the last game? Wait, I thought this was all the time. I thought they were just the same people. I didn't even know there was a difference between them.
This was also made worse when it was revealed that the Nightmare Critters were made in July, making people think that they were just thrown in last minute for money.
Yeah.
But in October, the true main villain for Chapter 4 was revealed, Yarnaby. He got his own trailer showing off some of Chapter 4's environments and showing Yarnaby splitting his face in half to reveal his giant mouth. Yarnaby replaced Baba Chops on the Steam page, so it seemed like Yarnaby was actually the Chapter 4 villain. But then it switched again to the Doctor in December, then again to Doey in January.
Yeah, you can tell, dude. Like, okay, I don't mind multiple villains. Like, for example, in Chapter 3, you had both Mr. Light at some point. And, but the main villain, the main big villain was Catnap. So, like, you still know who the main villain was, right? But in Chapter 4, you literally could not even tell. Like, I was having issues, like, understand, like, for example, Zoe, okay, I don't think he should have been the end boss. Like, I just think, like, he's just such a nothing burger. Okay, as a villain, he's a nothing burger. I don't know. I feel like he's just such a big nothing burger of a villain. I liked him as a ally. I liked him a lot as an ally. I liked him even more than Poppy, in fact. But, like, I don't know, him being the villain of Chapter 4 was just kind of like, I thought it was gonna be the Doctor. The Doctor was good. I liked the Doctor. When I got done with the Doctor, I genuinely thought that was the end of the chapter. But lo and behold, it is indeed not the end of the chapter. It's just a mess.
And at this point, fans were starting to get confused. They switched the character on the banner so many times, and no one even knew who the main villain of the game was. And there was also the other new character, Pianosaurus. He has a cool design. I can't wait to see what his boss fight is like. It all just seemed like way too much, and this would carry over into the actual game. But before I talk about that, I need to talk about the Doey drama. A few days before Chapter 4's release, we got our final trailer for the game, revealing a brand new character, Doey the Dough Man. And people absolutely hated him at first, saying he looks like something out of Garten of Banban and doesn't match the theme or aesthetic of Chapter 4, and it was unclear if he was going to be a good guy and help us in the game, or a bad guy and be our enemy. Well, we would get our answer on January 30th, 2025, where Chapter 4 would release on Steam. And the answer is that he was both. Doey started as a good guy, turned evil after getting angry, and then we kill him. And as for the other characters, Yarnaby gets hung, the Doctor dies in a boring boss fight, and the Nightmare Critters had maybe 2 dedicated scenes. Chapter 4 was super hated on launch. It's the worst reviewed game in the Poppy Playtime series and felt way too long with most of the characters barely doing anything. The best example of this being Pianosaurus, getting his own teaser trailer, having a part in the ARG before the game came out, only for him to get 30 seconds of screen time in the actual game. We fall off this ledge, Pianosaurus hears us and turns around, starts sprinting to us, only to get grabbed by Doey, and then this happens.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
This started the hashtag Justice for Pianosaurus.
Justice for Pianosaurus. To be fair, I didn't play the ARG. I think the ARG had something to do with this guy, but like I was just like, wow, who cares? Who cares? To be fair, I didn't do the other stuff, so probably people got really attached to this character, and then to just see it like crushed right in front of them so easily, with like nothing at all, must have been pretty goddamn bad.
The entire fanbase collectively agreeing that they wasted his character in the game, with him barely getting to do anything before getting killed by Doey. The Justice for Pianosaurus meme got so big, Mob themselves made merch off it. They gave Pianosaurus a full comic on their...
They made merch of it? They made merch of people being mad that he died that way? No way.
Twitter, and gave him a cameo in Chapter 5. And that was only one of the characters that was underused or disappointing in Chapter 4. There was also the Doctor, who was given a full trailer building him up as the guy who created all the experiments, who had been watching us throughout our entire journey in the factory and had this cool robot body with a cloak and a digital eyeball as his face. But in the actual game, he looked like this. All he did in the game was send Yarnaby and the Nightmare Critters after us.
Was so
and had a super
sad,
buggy boss fight that just wasn't fun to play. And just like people predicted, the game had too much going on. Way too many characters, it felt too long, there were way too many areas they made us explore in the game. There was the prison, the caves, the Doctor's lair, No Man's Land, and it was also another super buggy and glitchy release. It was almost a tradition at this point that every new game in the series comes out with glitches, which would be fixed in the coming...
It was so bad. Dude, I played 4 on stream. And I almost wasn't even able to finish the game. One glitch, it's in that goddamn like freezing room, but one glitch made it so that I couldn't cut the hand, or I couldn't cut the rope of some kind of thingy at the top, and I was just not able to finish the goddamn thing. And every time I would try to restart, it still was bugged. I restarted the game, I restarted everything, I went up back to a different save, like nothing would fix it. And so the only way I got to even finish the game was because one of my chatters, and this is, mind you, way later. I played this chapter before, like just last week, okay? I played this chapter just last week, and I could not, like, how have they not removed this bug yet? The only way I could fix it was because a chatter told me from a Reddit post on how to bug yourself, basically, through the thing. Like, what are we doing, man?
Weeks. No game in the Poppy Playtime series at this point had been released with no glitches. The game just felt super unpolished, and the Yarnaby section had a glitch on launch that made it super hard to beat. Chapter 4 was also the first game with roaming AI characters. In the Chapter 1 chase scene, the entire thing is scripted, meaning no matter how you play it, Huggy will always do the exact same things in the exact same order and amount of time. But for Yarnaby, he would react based on what you did in the game. If you made too much noise, he would come running over to you. If you were super quiet and hid in the safe zones, he'd leave you alone. They also did this with the Doctor boss fight, and while it sounds like a cool idea, it was almost completely ruined by the game's glitches. Yarnaby would sometimes just freeze and not move, giving you no challenge at all. Sometimes he would teleport to you, killing you instantly with there being nothing you can do about it. The Doctor's henchmen were way too easy to beat and weren't even a challenge, so overall just not very fun. Chapter 4...
Well, actually, I kind of struggled with the boss fight of... Well, okay, actually struggle is more of a... Dude, it wasn't even really a boss fight to me. I was just running through it. And sometimes I got caught and was like, okay, I guess I'll do it again. And then it's like, oh my god, it was just a mess.
For still the most hated in the series, with it not being a necessarily bad game, but super disappointing. One thing this game did do well was the story. Doey's backstory was sad just like how they intended it to be. The prototype was built up as more of a scary villain, and it seemed like the next game, Chapter 5, would be the last one in the series since we have no one else to fight except the prototype. And later that year in around July, another controversy...
Also, I don't think I'm gonna play Chapter 5. It's purely, and if I do, it's probably just because, I don't know, to get some content from it. Cause like, dude, the last chapter genuinely made me mad. The last chapter genuinely made me mad with how first of all, most of the goddamn thingies were not even that fun. Like in chapter 1, I was so interested in the game. I was so ready to go through all of the like different things, like all the different sections of the game. But in chapter 4, I was literally just going, okay, when is this finally over? When is this finally over? Like, I'm so tired. I'm so tired of the boss fights. They're like, I liked Yarnaby, but not the section where you had to like put on every single reactor, right? I just can't be bothered, man. I don't think I'll be playing chapter 5 actually. It's just, and if they're just gonna say that it's not the ending of the goddamn series once again, there's another bad guy, like, oh my god, just goddamn, like, dude, just finish the game, man. It's not, like, how big is this factory? It cannot be that big, guys. The factory cannot be that big.
Controversy would start where a bunch of Chapter 5 character names leaked months before the game came out. Lily Lovebraids, Giblet, Chum Chompkins, The Wrong Side Animals were all accidentally leaked on a website that shows copyrighted names. These names didn't tell us anything major about the game, but it did tell us that there would be new characters we'd have to fight, and this worried a lot of people because it was very likely that this would be the final game mainly focusing on the prototype, and all these new characters would just take time away from that. There was also a bunch of people who just didn't like the new names, once again comparing them to Garten of Banban, saying names like Doodle Bones or Bindle Boogie were not
Doodle
scary,
Bones? Dangle Boogie? What are these names, man?
Then on Halloween Day in 2025, Chapter 5 got its first teaser trailer. The trailer showed parts of the labs which we would be exploring in the game, new looks at the Poppy gel substance we had known about for a while, teases of the prototype's legs, a cardboard cutout of Poppy being burned in a fire. This only made people more sure that this would be the final game, because it was hinting that something very bad would happen to Poppy in Chapter 5, possibly even her death. And if she dies, then the games can't really go on, meaning Chapter 5 might actually be the finale. We got another teaser for Chapter 5, showing Poppy running through a vent trying to escape from the prototype, new characters which people theorized to be the Wrong Side Animals, and at the end of the trailer...
The what now? The Wrong Side Animals. Is it the smiling critters or nightmare critters or whatever the hell kind of critters? Again?
We got our first look at Lily Lovebraids. Things seem promising so far, and it looked like Mob wasn't hyping up the game as much as they were for Chapter 4, so people wouldn't be disappointed when it came out. We got a full trailer on the prototype, a short ARG that told the story of 2 Playtime co-employees who were trapped in the factory after the Hour of Joy, and we now had the release date of February 18th. It looked like instead of dropping the game on January 30th again, they were going to take some extra time with this one, which is exactly what people wanted them to do. Mob also partnered with CG5 to make a song for the game that would drop after Chapter 5 came out.
Oh, really?
They did the same thing for Chapter 3, and it was a major success for both CG5 and Mob, so they were going to do it again for Chapter 5. That's when all of a sudden, the entire song leaked. I still don't know how this happened or whose fault it was, but the song revealed some pretty interesting things about the game. The song was sung from the prototype's perspective, some of it being dialogue straight from the game's script, but a lot of the song was out of context and we wouldn't know what some things meant until after the game came out, so that was nice. I actually made a video on this leak when it happened, talking about some of the song's lyrics, and Mob asked if I would take it down, so I did. As we got closer to the game's release, we got one final trailer. Up until this point, everybody was hyped for the game, and it looked like it was going to be more like Chapter 3, which is the most loved by the fan base. But in this new trailer, we were given the full reveal of Lily, and this quickly changed a lot of people's opinions about the game. A lot of people hated her design, saying she wasn't scary and just more ugly, having no nose for some reason. There was also this scene in the trailer which showed an ice cream truck crashing into a wall, and this is where the Garten of Banban comparisons would come back up again. Remember, this was supposed to be the prototype's game. He was on the front cover, he had his own trailer, and all this extra stuff we saw in the trailer made it look like he wasn't actually going to be the main villain. This was all just speculation though, and we wouldn't know until the game actually released. And just 2 days before the game came out, the prototype's design was leaked on Twitter.
Dude, the amount of leakages is crazy. Also, is that Poppy's goddamn head? Bruh.
The prototype's design was hyped up for 5 years, with us only seeing his hand and some of his legs for 4 games at this point. And the moment where we finally saw his full design for the first time was in a blurry, unfinished 3D render on Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this leaked because they were making the music video for CG5's song, and somehow someone got access to the Blender file, and the prototype's full face and body was just sitting there. It's really unfortunate that this happened, but at least we still had the full game to look forward to. And on February 18th, 2026, Chapter 5 released. And the reception to this one was just more confusing than anything. With Chapter 4, it was widely agreed upon that it wasn't bad, just disappointing. But for Chapter 5, some people said that they loved the game and it was their favorite in the series so far. and other people said that they absolutely hated it. The game ended on a cliffhanger revealing that the doctor was alive, meaning there would end up being a chapter 6 after all, and this wasn't the finale like how most people thought it would be. And that was a lot of people's reasons for not liking the game. Some of these people being pretty popular streamers.
I said you needed to end it at 5. Now we're gonna have a Fast and Furious situation. There's gonna be 15 of these games. There's gonna be 15 of these games. They're gonna be making these games when we're all old, dead, and in the ground. There's gonna be a new generation of streamers that are playing Poppy Playtime number 35.
It's so hilarious because it's true. It's true, dude. They're just gonna keep on. Oh my god. What they're gonna do is just gonna keep on making chapter after chapter after chapter because they want to keep profiting off of it. Because, okay, as good as the Poppy Playtime story is, it will never be like a 15 chapter thing. It's just, you can't goddamn like string it along for so long. It's just not gonna work. It's just not gonna work out.
And as for Chapter 5's gameplay, you either loved it or hated it. I liked a lot of Chapter 5's gameplay, but some puzzles were actually terrible and made me want to quit. The game released with no bugs or glitches as far as I'm aware, which is definitely a good thing. Some people didn't like the prototype's design. I thought it was fine. But the biggest piece of controversy that came out of this era was when Markiplier played it. Markiplier
there it
has
is, the crash out.
Subscribers on YouTube and a very, very large audience, and he had this to say about Chapter 5.
Here's the crash out. Okay, I've seen this clip on Twitter before, and it's insane.
This was a mess. I am saying this because, and I have this policy, right? If it's the first game in a new series, if it's the second, third, I can be more forgiving of things finding its footing. This is Chapter 5, right?
He was unbelievably harsh towards the game, saying he won't be playing Chapter 6, and people on Twitter got mad at him for saying this, and then other people got mad at those people. And Markiplier had recently made a movie that was out in theaters with people saying it was bad, so he wasn't allowed to say Chapter 5 was bad. After a while, the drama started to settle down with less people talking about it over time. And that's when all of a sudden, Isaac, the old director of Poppy Playtime, did a Q&A on his Twitter. And in this Q&A, he mentioned that in his original outline for the series, Chapter 5 was supposed to be the finale.
Dude, here it is, man. Here it is. Chapter 5 should have been the goddamn finale. Dude, it's all... Dude, they fired the best guy in the team, or whatever the hell happened, right? And now it's just cooked.
But Mob was now stretching it into more games. I don't know if you've noticed, but a reoccurring theme throughout this video is Mob Entertainment being seen as greedy. And when this news came out, it solidified in a lot of people's minds that Mob Entertainment actually is just greedy and is doing everything they can to get as much money as they can. I'm not saying they are or they aren't, that's for you to decide in the comments. But now it was revealed to us that Mob had the opportunity to end the game as a 5 and then do spin-offs and expand the game universe in other ways. But instead, they chose to make a Chapter 6, and maybe even a Chapter 7 or a Chapter 8. And speaking of Isaac, a lot of people have been asking him to come back to Mob to save Poppy Playtime for Chapter 6. There's definitely a noticeable shift between Chapters 3 and 4, aka when Isaac left. And Chapter 5 was a lot more like Chapter 4 than people wanted it to be, and I think a reason we feel the shift so much is Isaac leaving Mob. Maybe he'll come back and help with Chapter 6. A lot of people have been asking him to. I don't really think so though, since now he's working on his own stuff. And now the most recent controversy, Mob put up a new Poppy Playtime store selling these wrong side animal plushies.
Oh my god, stop with the plushies, bro. Oh my god. There's one with the smiling critters, there's one with the nightmare critters, there's one with the whatever the hell this shit is, bro. Like, oh my god. Like, I don't mind like merch of games, right? I don't mind merch of games, but like this is crazy, bro. Like, who cares about the nightmare critters? Who actually cares about the nightmare critters? Just put, I don't know, Huggy Wuggy, the pink Huggy Wuggy. I don't know, Poppy. You can put her in. But like, nightmare critters, who cares?
$50 each. And I think we can all agree
$50?
These are not worth $50, and people have been calling Mob greedy again. And now, if we just take a step back and look at Mob as a company, it's kind of shocking that I can make a 30-minute video just going over their controversies. I think Mob themselves can agree that they've made bad decisions before. Every single company ever has done at least a couple things that they wish they could go back in time and stop themselves from doing. But the reason Mob has gotten away with so much while other companies would probably die from controversies like this is because no matter how bad the controversy, the quality of the games will get better with each release. That was until Chapter 4. If Chapter 6 is anything like Chapter 4 and 5, I don't really know if Mob can bounce back from that. No matter how popular a game series is, people won't just support it forever if the quality of the games are going down. And I do think that Chapter 5 was a step up from Chapter 4, but still, it's the 5th game, so the 5th game should be the best. I personally think that Chapter 2 and 3 are probably better than the 5th game. But it seems like Mob does want to make Chapter 6 good, with them hiring a bunch of new people behind the scenes. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. That pretty much wraps up this video. Let me know if you guys want longer videos like this one or my last one. I'll see you guys later. Subscribe.
And that was Poppy Playtime's History of Drama. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Well, it's just a mess. I'm not gonna lie. Chapter 1, 2, and 3 were the best in the series, even though I had a huge problem with Catnap. The ending boss fight especially was, to me, the shittiest boss fight ever. I hated it. I didn't like it at all. But story, the Catnap as a villain, amazing. Dude, the goddamn at the end where you have to run away from him, I felt genuine fear. Like, Catnap himself is a really cool villain. Same for Mommy Longlegs, and of course the main guy, Huggy Wuggy himself. I liked Huggy Wuggy a lot. I miss having Huggy Wuggy in the games. Like, I was interested when I saw him come back, to then just dying again. Like, what? What's the point? Right? What is the point? But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the other screen. And that was Poppy Playtime's History of Drama. God damn, they have had a lot, and I'm saying a lot of controversies. I'm not surprised. I have heard very bad things about Mob Entertainment as a general company. So I'm not surprised. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn the bell on if you really liked it. And of course, make sure you head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/DeviaRacting if you would like to get grabbed by your boss and have me drag you into my basement. Isn't that a fun thing, huh? Yes, and also thank you so much to all my Patreon supporters for always supporting me, keeping the lights on, and just generally making it possible for me to make these videos. Thank you so much to Connor Quinney, Falloon, Tao Aku, Moquette, Draxon, Lurker Samson, Oldcoder78, LEC, and Dara McMahon. Guys, thank you so much for supporting me. I appreciate that. And if you would like to support me as well, make sure you head into the description and then click on the Patreon link. And it'll send you over to my Patreon where you can just pledge whatever you think is right. But yes, thank you so much. And I appreciate you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.